is APBA Baseball Classics, where yesterday's stars performed through cards and dice. Classic games on our tabletops. Hi, everybody. On your left, you are seeing the 1980 signed baseball that was given to me by a friend of the family, Sandy Krause. There's a video on that and how she obtained the ball. Check it out. But that's George Brett's signature right there. Today we have the 1980 Kansas City Royals taking on the 1969 New York Mets in APBA Classics Baseball. Hi, everybody. This is Brian Neely of APBA Classics Baseball, bringing to you Game 6 of the tournament. I want to take a minute and talk about how this thing is setting up. We're going to do a 16-team bracket, double elimination. And then when we get a champion, we'll set up another 16 bracket or start another project, whichever you would rather see. But sometime over the next 2 years, I'm going to play 16 of these 16-team brackets and come up with a champion of my APBA Classics teams. These are the teams that have played so far. And then, as I said, today we got the Kansas City Royals against the 69 Mets. Royals in 1980, led by George Brett, Dennis Leonard, Willie Wilson. And for the Mets, Tom Seaver, Cleon Jones, and Jerry Koosman. Chance for revenge for the Mets for the 2015 World Series. Champions in 69 Mets, champions of 1969. Great year for New York when you consider the Mets, Jets, and the New York Knicks. All right, here's our starting lineups for today's game. First of all, for the visiting Kansas City Royals, we got Willie Wilson in center field, UL Washington at shortstop, George Brett's at third base, Clint Hurdle is in left field, Willie Aikens first base, Amos Otis in right field, Frank White at second base, Darrell Porter is the catcher, and on the mound is a lefty, Paul Splittorff. He's a grade C pitcher, R strikeout modifier, and Z control modifier. We're picking these teams in a casual manner randomly and using four-man pitching rotations, and that's also in a random manner of who's pitching, which spot in the starting pitching rotation. Today it's the third spot. But rather than do just everyone in the first round and play for a month, just number one starters, I like to do it randomly. Here's the Mets starting lineup. Tommy Agee, Bobby Files at second base. Cleon Jones is in right field. Don Clendenin at first base. Art Shamsky in left field. Al Weiss is playing third base. J.C. Martin's the catcher. And Bud Harrelson is the shortstop. Gary Gentry, a grade B pitcher with a Y modifier, is on the mound. All right, for this game, the Kansas City Royals are fielding column 1, and the New York Mets are fielding column 2. We're going to play basic APBA, but I'm going to consider left-right splits and have a simple way of doing that while using basic boards. If a hitter is split for the same sided pitcher, right-hand hitter, right-hand pitcher, for example, if his rating is a -3 through 8, we will raise the pitcher's grade by one level, or if it's higher than that, we'll raise by two levels. The plus numbers, if he's +3, we will lower the pitcher's grade. And there are several players in today's game that will affect pitcher's grade, so I hope I remember each time new batter comes to the plate. I think I will. So Willie Wilson leads off for the Royals, speeds her at the top of the lineup, and he makes Gary Gentry, who is a B pitcher and A pitcher. Here's a pitch to Willie Wilson, 45, is going to be a base on balls. So the Royals start off with speed on the base pass. Here's UL Washington, known for the toothpick, just passed away recently. Here's a pitch to UL. 65 is a foul out to the catcher, J.C. Martin, throws away the mask and makes the grab. One gone. Here's George Brett. Brett will lower Gentry's grade one level to his C grade. 2-2 roll for Brett. That's a hit column roll for George Brett. And 21 is a ball driven to right center field on the line, but it goes to the wall. And Willie Wilson will score from first base. George stops at second base with an RBI double. Royals are on the board 1-0. That brings up Clint Hurdle, longtime Major League manager, and I think very successful manager. 294 hitter with the Royals in 1980. I saw Clint Hurdle's debut game with the Royals. My dad and I went to watch the Royals, and he had a great debut. I think he had 2 home runs in his first game. There's a pitch to Clint Hurdle, 26, is a swing and a miss, strike 3. So it's going to go to Willie Mays Aikens to get Brett home from second. Aikens is a +1 against right-handed hitters. So Gentry is going to be a great C pitching to Willie Mays Aikens. He's followed by Amos Otis on deck. Gentry will go ahead and pitch to Aikens. 4-4 roll, that's going to be a mistake. Pitching to Willie Mays Aikens hits a line drive in the center field that falls in front of Tommy Agee. It's got a good glove out there in center field, but it's going to be a RBI single for Willie Mays Aikens. And the Royals go up 2-0 in the first. Here's Amos Otis. Otis does not affect, he's a negative or +1 against right-handed, so he does not affect the batting average or pitching grade. 43 is going to be a swing and a miss. Otis will have to grab some pine, but the Royals on 2 hits score 2 runs. We go to the bottom of the first. Kansas City 2. Mets coming to bat. All right, Paul Splittorff, big lanky left-hander, takes the mound. He went to an NAIA college in Illinois, was discovered by the Royals, and turned out to be a long time and pretty good starting pitcher for Kansas City Royals. Here's Tommy Agee leading off for the Mets. 6-1 is a 40. Agee hits a hard line drive to her right center field. Willie Wilson runs it down and makes a backhanded running catch. Nice play by Willie Wilson on the Tommy Agee line drive. Willie Wilson is a fielding column 1. If he was a fielding column 2, that would have been a single. If he was a 3, that was going to be a double. Here's Bobby File. File rolls a 32, which is a ground out to the second baseman, Frank White. Frank White's a fielding column 1. 2 outs. And here is Cleon Jones. 43 is a ball tapped back to the mound, fielded by lefty Splittorff, who throws over to Willie Mays Aikens. It's an easy bottom of the first for the Royals. Go to the top of the second inning. Kansas City 2 and New York 0. Frank Academy White will lead off for the Kansas City Royals. He was the Royals' most successful graduate of the Royals Baseball Academy. Herb Washington also went to that school. 21 is a fly ball to left field. Art Shamsky camps under it and makes the grab. 1 down. Here's Darrell Porter. Porter hits a roller on the ground to second base. Bobby Files picks up and throws to Clendenin at first. 2 gone. And now the pitcher, Paul Splittorff. 6-6 roll for Paul Splittorff. He lifts a double, and he's going to be in scoring position, maybe helping his own cause here. Wood Wilson could do something. Wilson walked his first time up, but this time he's going to be out with a swing and a miss for strike 3. He had a tough World Series in 1980. He hit 330, 326 during the season, but he struck out a lot in that 1980 World Series. 1 hit, no runs for the Royals. Bottom of the second, Royals 2, Mets 0. All right, Don Clendenin will lead off for the New York Mets. I don't know if you know his story, but it's well worth knowing. Clendenin was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and his father died when he was 6 months old. But his mother remarried Nish Williams, who was a longtime Negro League baseball player who was also coaching at I know part of his coaching was at Morehouse College. So he was raised by a baseball father who imparted a lot of baseball knowledge to Don Clendenin, who's already very smart. He was an excellent student in high school. Clendenin missed being the valedictorian of his graduating class by 1 B+ on his report card. So he just missed being a valedictorian. So he enrolled, Clendenin enrolled in Morehouse College. His stepfather was connected to. Morehouse College had a tradition of having juniors and seniors become big brothers to incoming freshmen. By the way, Clendenin was a very young incoming freshman. He graduated early from high school at age 15. So he was probably 15 or 16 as a freshman coming into Morehouse. So juniors and seniors in this tradition would take on a big brother status for incoming freshmen. And Clendenin's big brother was a very famous man. The Martins of Atlanta, Georgia knew the Clendenins. And Martin Luther King Jr. volunteered to be Don Clendenin's big brother at Morehouse College as a freshman. Martin Luther King had already graduated from Morehouse. He was studying at a theological seminary at the time, and probably also pastoring. But wow, talk about being touched by greatness. Don Clendenin was touched by greatness. It's a shame that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968 and didn't get an opportunity to see what his little brother, quote unquote, did for the New York Mets in bringing them the Miracle Mets and the World Championship in baseball. All right, here's Splittorff's offering to Don Clendenin, leading off the bottom of the second inning, 1-6. It was a swing and a miss, strike 3. That's Splittorff's first strikeout. Here's Art Shamsky, 300 hitter in 1969. Shamsky rolls a fly ball to left field. Clint Hurl is under it. Puts it away. Here's Al Weiss, third baseman. Weiss strikes out. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Paul Splittorff. Didn't strike out a lot of hitters, but he gets 2 here. We go to the top of the third. The Royals 2 and the Mets 0. Ewell Washington leads off for Kansas City. He lifts a fly ball to right field. And it's Cleon Jones's territory. He makes the catch. Here's George Brett, who doubled and drove in a run and scored in the first inning. Brett makes Gentry a grade C pitcher. 54 is a fly ball to right field, hit on the line, right to Cleon Jones. 2 up, 2 fly outs to right. Here's Clint Hurl. Hurl strikes out, so an easier inning. And actually, Gary Gentry has retired 7 Royals in a row. No, he's not. There was a double by Splitter at the pitcher, but he's settling in. Bottom of the third, 2-0 Kansas City. All right, J.C. Martin, Buddy Harrelson, and Gary Gentry will hit in the third for New York. 5-3 is a 20 against fielding column 1. These the boards I'm using will first of all, the boards I'm using include airplay randomizers and rare play randomizers. So 20 is a air randomizer roll. 16 is going to be the play result of 16 fielding column 1. That's going to be a fly out to center field. Play made defensively by Willie Wilson. So Martin's retired. Here is Buddy Harrelson, the shortstop. Buddy Harrelson rolls a hit column roll, and Harrelson gets a 65 is going to be just a single in that second column. Fast runner at first. Here's the pitcher, Gary Gentry. Very weak hitting card. So we'll at least try to go for a productive out. And he'll sacrifice. 62 is on first. 13 is a pop bunt that's popped up and caught by the catcher, Darrell Porter. So it's still unproductive. Out here is Tommy Agee. He's solid with the bat. Former Chicago White Sox player. He hit 271 and 69 with 26 home runs. 21, though, is going to be a flyer out to Amos Otis in right field. So 1 hit, no runs. Top of the fourth. 2-0 Royals. All right, the Mets pitcher Gary Gentry is from Phoenix, Arizona, and grew up in Arizona. He was an infielder in high school, did not start pitching until he went to junior college, and picked up pitching, was very successful at the junior college, pitched them, I think, to a junior college World Series. Then he was signed by Arizona State and pitched Arizona State to a College World Series championship. He was drafted twice previous while in college, stayed in college, but then finally was drafted by the Mets after the College World Series victory. Willie Mays Aikens leads off for the Royals, and he pops out to the catcher, J.C. Martin. Aikens is out. He's 1 for 2. Here's Amos Otis, always one of my favorite Royals players in those years. Aho hits a ground ball to second base, fielded by foul, throws to first. Otis is retired, 2 outs. Now Frank White. 35 is a swing and a miss by Frank White. 3 up and 3 down. Bottom of the fourth, Royals still lead by 2. All right, Kansas City got 2 runs in the first. They've been unable to build on that lead. Let's see what the Mets can do here in the last of the fourth. Bobby File leads off for New York. File 1-5 is an 8. He's a he's a +1, so that's going to make Splitdorf a grade D pitcher. That's going to be a base hit for Bobby File. Leadoff single for the Mets. Now, the middle of the order, here is Cleon Jones, 340 hitter in 1969. 21 is a swing and a miss, strike 3. Splitdorf is getting a little extra on that fastball today. Here's Don Clendenin. Actually, on these boards, it's not 2 balls and no strikes. It is a little different than the 2011 book I use. This is 1 ball. 1-5 is a 10. Clendenin does not change the pitcher's average or pitching grade. So that's going to be a base hit for Don Clendenin. And Clendenin steals second on the next pitch, 2 strikes on the batter. So first and third, then Clendenin steals second. And the Mets have something going here in the fourth. All right, if there was only a runner on third, I might think about playing the infield in, but we got second and third. Don't want any seeing-eye ground balls slipping through the infield with the infield drawn in. So the Royals are going to play at normal infield depth. And now here's the pitch to not Clendenin. It should be Art Shamsky, a 300 hitter. Shamsky is a lefty batter, but he was only -2 against left-handers, so it's not going to change the pitching grade. All right, 2-4 roll to Shamsky as I swing and a miss, strike 3. Fourth split door strikeout. It's going to be up to Al Weiss, the third baseman. I'm throwing dice all over the room. There's a roll for Al Weiss, 4-4 roll. Weiss is not effective pitching grade. That's a 8-play result against a C pitcher. Base hit. And both runners will score unless Clendenin is slow. He's not. He's just stole second. Clendenin's actually fast. And that will tie the score. It's the Royals 2 and the Mets 2. We got a new ball game. 2 RBIs for Weiss. Here's J.C. Martin. And Martin rolls out to second base. Frank White going the second way, flipping the ball to UL Washington to get the force out on Weiss. So, with 3 hits, Mets get 2 runs. Top of the 5th inning, 2-2 tie. All right, top of the 4th inning, a new ball game, 2-2 tie. Darrell Porter will lead off for the Royals. I have his signature on the 1980. Well, I have most of the 80 Royals on this ball, but that is Darrell Porter's autograph there. He was a world champion twice. World champion in Kansas City, 1985. And then, of course, in St. Louis, he was a world champion in 1982. Played 8 years for manager Whitey Herzog, both in Kansas City and in St. Louis. All right, Porter leads off. He died early. He was only 50 when he passed away. In 1980 was an important year for him. He had battles with drugs and alcohol and pills. Went to rehab in 1980 and stayed clean at least for the next few years. When he retired, I think his biggest problem was he gained a lot of weight. Weight ballooned about 300 pounds from his normal 220. Here's a pitch to Darrell Porter. 6-3 is a fly ball to center field. Ball is caught by Tommy Agee. Darrell is 0 for 2 on the day. Here's the pitcher, Paul Splittorff, who hit a double in the second inning. Splittorff pops out to the catcher, J.C. Martin. 2 gone. Top of the order, and Willie Wilson. That's a 9. Now, Willie Wilson makes Gary Gentry a grade A, so I think that's going to be an out. Pop out to third or X or Y strikeout. Gentry's got a Y strikeout modifier. So twice in a row, Gentry has struck out Willie Wilson. 3 up and 3 down for the Royals. We're halfway through. 2-2 ball game. All right, here's Buddy Harrelson. You probably remember the battles he had with Pete Rose of the Reds in the early 70s. Here's the pitch to Buddy Harrelson. 31 is a walk to the Mets shortstop. He's been on base twice. Gary Gentry tried to butt him over last time he got on base, but popped out to the catcher. He's going to try to get this bunt thing down again. 56 to Gentry. And it's another pop-up on the bunt, just like the first time. Caught by Royals catcher Darrell Porter, 1 out. Tommy Agee. 5-2 is a 27. That roller is to George Brett at third base. Fielding column 1, that's going to be a 5-4-3 inning double play. Top of the 6th, we're still knotted at 2. All right, 2-2, Walt Washington leads off for Kansas City. Ground ball to second base, Bobby Fowl. Sidearm throw to first for the out. 1 out. Here's George Brett. Brett hits a hit column roll. That's the second ball that George Brett has squared up. 41 is a single, though, 7 in the second column. Here's Clint Hurdle. Six roll for Hurdle, and he scores one up on Gary Gentry. This will probably be a run. We'll see what it is. It's a 6. Hurdle drives the ball to right field, gets over the head of Cleon Jones. It's at the base of the wall. Brett scores from first, and Hurdle settles in with a stand-up double and an RBI. It's a Royal lead now, 3-2. Willie Mays Aikens the batter. Willie Mays is 1-4-2. 6-4 is a 37. That's going to be in column 2 a single. Hurdle is going to try to score. The throw from Tommy Agee in center field to the plate. Tag is applied, and Hurdle is out at the plate. 8-2. That holds the Royals to just 1 run on 3 hits. Well, it's not over yet. That's only the second out. So Aikens is at first. He is a slow runner, so we will not make him go to second on the throw. Amos Otis gets a 6-6 roll. 3 straight dice rolls for the Royals. 1-4 is a 7. Aikens will stop at second because he's slow. That's not correct. With 2 outs, the slow runners will go to third on that hit. And that's what that asterisk is here. I don't know if you can see that. 7 runner to third, S to second, but asterisk S to third. So first and third Royals. That brings up Frank Academy White. White is 93 against right-handers, so Gary Gentry will be an A pitcher pitching to Frank White. (6-3) is a fly out to center field that will end the inning, holding the Royals to 1 run on 4 hits. Go to the bottom of the 6th. Kansas City 3, New York 2. Not sure who won that inning. The Royals were set up to score more than 1 run. All right, Bobby Fowl leads off for the Mets. He got a single leading off the 4th inning. 43 is a tapper back to Splittorff, who throws to first. Fowl's 1 for 3 on the day. Here's Cleon Jones. Jones swings and misses strike 3. He struck out twice against Splittorff. And now Clendenin. 24 is a swing and a miss, strike 3 for Clendenin. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the 7th. 3-2 Royals. All right, fatigue rule kick comes into play here in the 7th inning for my starters. So Gary Gentry has his fatigue point inning. I'm going to go back to using if 3 bad things happen, then his grade goes down. I was using 2. but I think 3 makes more sense. That's what Stratomatic does. And even in APBA, I think 3 is good because most managers wait till something bad happens to a pitcher when there's question of them tiring, and then it takes 2 batters normally to warm up a reliever. So we'll go back to 3. Here's Darrell Porter. 32 is a ground ball hit to second base. Bobby Fowle secures it and throws to Glendening at first. Porter's out. Here's the pitcher, Paul Splittorff. Splittorff rolls a 6-4, and that's a strikeout. Top of the order, and Willie Wilson. 326 hitter, stole 79 bases in 1980. 3-3 roll for Willie Wilson. That's going to be extra bases, most likely. 43 is not. Hit a 7. The Royals have hit that second column, but they keep coming up with singles. Definitely speed at first base. 1-run lead. Here's UL Washington. So that's 1 point against Gentry's fatigue. 43 is a comebacker back to Gentry. He's got it. Throws the first. That's the end of the top of the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 7th. The Royals have a 1-run advantage. All right, Paul Splittorff returns to the mound in the 7th inning. He's up by a run. He can give you a lot of innings. He pitched 204 innings in 1980. Mark Shamsky leads off on the Mets, 41. Ground ball to Frank White at second base. And the throw to the Royals first baseman Willie Mays Aikens. Shamsky's retired. 0 for 3 for Art Shamsky. Here's Al Weiss. Weiss had a clutch 2-run single in the 4th inning. Knocked in both of the Mets' runs. 21 is a fly ball lifted to right field. Amos Otis drifts over to his right and makes the grab. Medium depth. 2 outs. Here's J.C. Martin, the catcher. Martin rolls a 3-6. And that is a ground ball to Aikens at first, who steps on the bag unassisted. Top of the 8th inning, Kansas City 3, New York 2. All right, George Brett will lead off the 8th inning for the Royals. Probably the most impressive batter I've ever seen. It seemed like he hit the ball hard somewhere every time, much like Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. had more power than George Brett. Seemed like every time I saw King Griffey Jr. play in person, he always hit the ball hard somewhere. First pitch to George Brett, 1-2, is a ground ball to Bobby Fowle at second. It's got an extra strikeout modifier, but Gentry is a wide. So Brett is retired on the ground out, 4-3. 1 away. Here's Clint Hurdle, 6'3", left-handed batter. 6-3 is a fly ball lifted to center field. Tommy Agee's under it and makes the catch. 2 outs. Here's Akak, Willie Aikens. 42 is a 41. And that's a ball hit back to the pitcher, Gentry, but he fumbles it. E1. Aikens is at first. He is a slow runner. I'm not going to play it safe with this base runner. I'm not sure you really need to declare that with this set of boards. I think they kind of engineer it out, saying whether they're playing it safe or not on the base pass. All right, here's Amos Otis. 2 outs and 1 on. 2-6 is a fly ball to right field. Cleon Jones puts it away, and the Royals are done in the 8th. 3-2, Kansas City. Paul Splittorff returns to his duties in the 8th inning. He has allowed only 4 hits and 1 walk. But I also will lead off for the Mets. And pinch hitter comes out on deck for the pitcher. So we've seen the end of Gary Gentry, who went 8 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 2 in the first and 1 in the 6th. Here's a pitch to Buddy Harrelson, 32, is a ground ball to second base. Frank White has it, throws the first. One down. Now the pitch hitter, Ron Swoboda. Swoboda is a negative, or no, he's a +1 against lefties. That won't change the pitching grade. 4-3 is a tapper back to Splittorf at the mound. The throw to first. 2 gone. And top of the order to Tommy Agee, the ball player. Agee rolls a 1-4. That's a fly out to the left fielder, Clint Hurdle. 3 up and 3 down. Paul Splittorf has retired 11 Mets in a row. We go to the top of the 9th inning. Kansas City 3 and New York 2. All right, do I want to see Nolan Ryan pitch in this game? Duh, I sure do. Nolan Ryan comes on to pitch the 9th inning for the Mets, who trail by 1. He's a grade C pitcher with the X and Y strikeout modifiers. He has a W control modifier. 8-3 with 1 save and 3.53 earned run average in 1969. I only saw Nolan Ryan pitch in person one time in my life, and you could tell a difference in that fastball. He was fast. Here's Mike White. He rolls a 6-2, and White taps one to second base. Bobby Fowl throws to first. 1 down in the 9th for the Royals. Here's Darrell Porter. Talked about Porter dying early in rehab. There was a trace of cocaine in his system, but not enough to overdose. He had had a car wreck on a hot day, 97 degrees. And the wreck didn't kill him, but they think the heat, the weight was what did him in. Here's the pitch to Darrell Porter. 35 is a base on balls. Porter takes first with 1 out. Slow runner at first. Here's the pitcher, Splittorf. Timeout. He's got no marks against his fatigue, and he will try to bunt. Here's a pitch from Ryan to Splittorf. 63 is a 32. He gets the bunt down, picked up by the third baseman, Al Weiss. The throw to first. Successful sacrifice. 5-4. Porter goes to second. Now with 2 outs, he should be able to score from second base. We've already seen that with a slow runner. If Willie Wilson can get a hit, Ryan goes into the stretch, and here it comes. 1-1 roll. Willie Wilson catches one. 5-4 is a 7. It's a base hit, and it will be enough to score the runner. So an insurance run for Kansas City. They take a 4-2 lead. Clutch hit for Willie Wilson. There's UL Washington. UL rolls a 5-2, and that's going to be a ground out to third base. So 1 hit, 1 run. Kansas City 4, and the Mets 2. Last chance for the Miracle Mets. All right, New York has numbers 2, 3, and 4 due up in the 9th, so it's not going to be easy for Splittorf. Bobby Fowl steps into the box. He is 1-for-3 on the day. He has scored. Here's the pitch to Bobby Fowl. 5-6 is play result of 34, which is a pop-up on the infield. Shortstop UL Washington calls for it and makes the catch. 1 gone, 2 to go for Splittorf. Here's Cleon Jones. Two 6, ball 4. They'll get the tie and run to the plate in the 9th. And you got a fast runner at first. Might notice I'm having a senior moment here. I got to cut off the camera, which I usually do when I do pitching changes. And then to follow that up, I didn't turn the camera back on when I rolled the dice the next time. So after Cleo Jones walked, Don Clendenin popped out the shortstop, and then the Mets brought in Nick Kranepool to hit for their first baseman, Don Clendenin. All right, manager Jim Fryer is going to come out and make a pitching change. That's going to be Dan Quisenberry, and he will be pitching to a pinch hitter for New York. That's Ed Kranepool batting for Don Clendenin. Quisenberry is a submarine pitcher. He is a grade B, ZZ modifier. Let's see, Kranepool is a +1 against right-handed pitchers. That won't change the grade, but coming in the middle inning, we'll raise Quisenberry to an A pitcher pitching to Quisenberry. 1 on and 1 out. Pitch to Kranepool. 2-2 rule is an 8 against the A, though I think it's going to be an out. Pop out to the shortstop, UL Washington. 2 outs. It's going to be Art Shamsky. -1 against the right-handed. Doesn't change the grade. Quisenberry goes back to the B grade. 6-1 is a 40. Ground ball to Willie Mays Aikens at first base, who flips to Quisenberry covering at first for the third out. That's the ball game. Final score, Kansas City Royals 4 and the New York Mets of 69 2. All right, the Royals go 1-0, and the 69 Mets are 0-1 in this tournament now. Kansas City scored 4 runs on 9 hits and 0 errors. The Mets had 2 runs on 4 hits and 1 error. The losing pitcher was Gary Gentry. He goes 8 innings, gives up 3 runs. And the winning pitcher is Paul Splittorff, 8 1/3. He gives up 2 runs. And Quisenberry gets the save. No home runs in the game. And let's make the MVP of the game Paul Splittorff. Brett Nakins had multi-hit games, but Splittorff pitched well over 8 1/3. He only gave up 4 hits and 1 walk. Actually, 2 walks. He gave up a walk when they took him out in the 9th. But he was very effective. Big, tall, lanky left-hander, longtime Royals broadcaster after his playing career. He was an analyst for the TV crew. Kansas City 4 and the 69 Mets 2. Thanks for watching.